So we're just going to shoot the shit a little bit. And,
no problem, man. I'm really good at that.
Fantastic.
You picked the perfect person.
That's our strong point.
Yeah.
Sweet.
But at least it's the truth.
Absolutely. But I mean, that's this kind of...
the life we led, we can make it up.
Of course not. Especially you.
Oh, boy.
Exactly.
You ready to go, man?
Yeah, let's go.
Okay, cool. So, Surfscape Film Festival with the legend Rory Russell. Rory's a surfer, pipeline masters champion twice over, shaper, and just, as I said, legend.
A party animal.
Party animal, absolutely.
It's not a party, it's a lifestyle.
A lifestyle.
Lifestyle animal.
Yeah.
Well, figured it out, eh?
It's part of the surfing atmosphere.
Absolutely. How are you enjoying Milan so far?
I am here wondering what a little surfer boy from the North Shore is doing in Milan, Italy.
Weird, isn't it?
I would have never, 50 years ago, I would have been on the beach. If you would have told me I'd be in Milan, I wouldn't know where Milan was.
Exactly, yeah.
The weird thing is that the biggest surfing club in Italy is actually here in Milan.
Really?
Because, people from here, they get a chance to travel a lot more and... so
living the surfing life vicariously.
Exactly, through the lives of others.
Yeah.
And then putting 15-inch wetsuits and surfing in the winter.
I just saw some surf movies of these guys surfing in water. The guy goes, you roll one wave, headache. Roll two waves, your brain's going to explode.
Yeah.
You roll three waves, you head to the beach.
It's hectic. I don't know. Like growing up on the east coast of South Africa with warm water.
Yeah.
I don't understand that. Like for me, it's like that's not surfing for me.
We were watching a Russian surf movie.
Right.
The Russians surfing in Russia.
That's madness.
In Siberia.
Fantastic.
Wow.
In the Arctic Circle. Surfing
But
the
only
Arctic.
Russians would do that. They're psychopaths.
There's a big question mark there.
Yeah,
that's for sure. I'd rather climb Mount Everest.
Yeah.
and go surfing.
It's a little bit warmer, maybe, actually.
Yeah. Yeah, but you know what? It's amazing the enthusiasm that everybody has for the surfing, the surfing lifestyle and stuff. And it is, without a doubt, one of the best lifestyles you could have.
Fantastic.
It's just free and easy. We don't have a whole lot of problems. And that's, if more people surfed, we'd have less problems in the world today.
Absolutely.
I
Especially
totally
with the climate change. And that's really one thing that's going to affect a lot of us. But the one good thing that I've started to realize since I've been here and seeing the amount of enthusiasm that surfers have without waves, that very soon the new wave parks, the surf parks that are coming in
absolutely.
are going to make surfing beyond what we can even expect right now. As soon as they start putting these parks in and everybody can surf, the world could change for the better.
It could, it could definitely.
Like more water in the cities as well, That's always good.
And plus, just getting rid of the anxiety of being in the water and being able to surf. We all know that it's a cleansing.
It is. Just spending that time, even just the paddle out.
Just getting...
That's sometimes it's the best part of it. You're just like in the water, you're going to have
You hit the water, and it's just you and God.
Yeah.
It's just like,
and nobody else, and you can just enjoy life. And then if you're lucky, you get to stand up, ride a few waves.
Yeah, or in my case, lie down on a bodyboard. But yeah,
I have a surf school.
Right.
I started teaching surfing, Mr. Pipeline Surf Lessons. And I tell you, it is the biggest passion I have in my life. It is the most rewarding thing to see a person's face after they've ridden their first wave is priceless.
Amazing.
You could, I feel terrible for, charging people whatever to teach surf lessons because it's just the money has nothing to do with it. What they've done is I just taught Emma Stone.
All right. Okay.
Oscar winner.
That's
Taught her to surf.
Fantastic.
And Bill Murray is a good friend of mine. We took Bill Murray to Java in 1980.
That's incredible.
Can you believe that?
that's insane, actually.
Well, he's one.
That was probably the most fun ever had at G-Land.
He's a legend, no? As well.
yeah.
Great personality.
I think he's also like locked on. He's like kind of figured out the lifestyle.
Yeah.
Totally. In fact, when he left Java with us, he goes, They just made Caddyshack.
Yeah.
And he goes, I just, left the film production thing, and everybody called me Big Bad Bill, because, production and all that.
Yeah, of course.
And he goes, after spending a week in the jungle with you guys, you've turned Big Bad Bill into Sweet William.
What a legend.
And that shows what the surfing lifestyle can do to people, how it can change them.
Well, as soon as you get a group of surfers together, the whole the mood just relaxes.
Changes,
No?
yeah.
You've had a bit of a run-in, though, with some South Africans in Durban. That can happen.
2 nights in a row, I got headbutted.
Oh, seriously?
Yeah,
What?
Not once, but twice.
in Pangeni
really?
Hotel.
I was dancing with some guy's girl, and he didn't like it.
Oh, okay. Well, surfing wasn't involved, though. It was
Yeah. The surfing was never involved.
hunting was involved.
But I tell you, the surf was really good down there. We got Jeffreys Bay, just incredible.
Beautiful.
So much so that one day it was perfect, and I just couldn't paddle out.
Just watch it.
It was the first time I had ever worn a wetsuit, and I had rash marks in my armpits that were the size of silver dollars.
Yeah.
So I thought I'd be smart and put duct tape around them and ripped out all my arm hair when I took the duct tape.
Madness.
But, such is life of surfing.
Absolutely.
But do you remember that sensation of that first wave? Do you still remember it like now?
My parents, it was like the first week we were in Hawaii. My dad was military. In fact, the reason I had to move to Hawaii was because of a lightning bolt. That was the insignia of the army company
That's
that
right.
my dad was with.
Oh, what?
It was called Tropic Lightning. Was his combat thing. He fought in Vietnam many years. He was a crazy soldier, to be above and beyond the call of duty.
Mm-hmm.
In fact, the President of the United States sent us a big plaque that said, "Your dad was awesome, and the country owes you a debt of favor." So the way I figured, I get to set waves.
Absolutely. That's also a hard one to follow, right?
Yeah.
When you got a dad like that. It's tough.
Oh, yeah. Especially being two opposite careers, a military career and then a surfer's lifestyle career, is
Yeah.
probably why he never made general. But anyhow, it was a good experience, It's just, and the thing is, I didn't do it on purpose. I didn't try and be a good surfer. I never set out to be a champion or anything. I was a product of my environment. I mean, when we came home from school, there was absolutely nothing to do on the North Shore. The North Shore was so desolate. There was nobody around, and we had no TV. Imagine growing up with no TV.
No, it sounds
Impossible. How do you do that?
Which was absolutely fabulous for me, because the only other thing we had to do is go play in the ocean, So we started out with borrowing boards, broken boards, inner tubes, foam boards. I mean, we'd just go out and see how we played, who could get pounded the most. And when you're 11 and 12 years old, you're so resilient. The wave can fold you in a pretzel and you laugh about it. Nowadays, you go home in crutches.
Exactly. Yeah. We used to do that sort
On
of
the
same thing
shorebreak,
on the
yeah.
shorebreak all the time. It was the best game.
Why be a shore break? We didn't go body surfing. We went body womping.
It's like smashing you into the sand.
God. Totally. Come home, just shake your head, the beach would fall out.
I follow that guy, Clark Little.
Yeah.
On his Instagram, his images of the Waimea shorebreak are incredible.
That guy, he stepped into a really good thing. That was very smart of him
Yeah.
to begin doing that. He just took a camera down one day and went, wow. And then next day, wow.
Yeah, now he just
Now he just stands there in 12-foot shore break and it lands on his head.
Yeah, he gets whumped, I think.
But he knows how to get out of it.
Yeah, and he's training his son now to do it, so he doesn't have to do it anymore. I think.
Yeah.
It's like, dude, you just go in.
And his older brother was a really good big wave rider,
Right.
Brock. Unfortunately, he passed away from cancer a couple of years ago.
Yeah,
But he was Clark's older brother was a charger, man.
Yeah.
He charged big Waimea.
Fantastic.
It was, and the one advantage I had when we first got to Hawaii, I just turned 11, is my parents put me in a swim team. So I was a competitive swimmer at 11 and 12 years old, and I was a Hawaii State swimming champion.
I'm sick.
So I had paddling Jerry, and Jerry just goes, "You and your long arms, man, you just paddle by everybody like they're standing still." But I tell you what, I didn't mind a bit taking off at pipe because I was in a lot earlier than everybody else.
Exactly.
And it makes a big difference.
Yeah, absolutely.
The faster you get down the face, the better off you are.
Otherwise, you're just going to get catapulted.
That's the whole thing. Just get to the bottom. Once you get to the bottom, you're in.
Yeah.
You know, all you got to do is
It's
stand
that
there.
early, like the first drop. That's like,
Just the first drop. That's it. Over the ledge.
ooh.
That's just like, and then at times when you got 25 knot winds and you got all this water in your eyes and you can't see what you're getting yourself into.
Yeah, you don't
And then
think about that, Ham.
You stand up and you get all the water out of your eyes and you go, what the did I get myself into? Help me. Then you start looking for the exit sign. EXIT.
Well, that's the thing that like people don't realize when people that don't surf, like you don't see a lot of the time that you're on the water because you got that spray coming in, you got the wind, you know,
And you're concentrating on one thing.
yeah,
And
yeah.
that's making it.
Exactly.
Coming out the hole. Everything else is, all the peripheral is not there. People ask me, what's it sound like? I have no clue.
Yeah.
I don't know what it sounds like.
no
That's the
time.
last thing in my mind is what it sounds like.
really just, like,
I just
sit
want to
there.
get out of here.
You got tons of water on top of you.
Yeah.
You're going at like 60 kilometers an hour.
Yeah.
You need to get out of that place.
That's one thing I've always wondered is how fast we go. You know, I'm sure they're capable of doing it nowadays because they have speed guns and stuff. But back then, I was always curious how fast, you know, like at one point where you're in a bowl where it's wrapping in all the G-force. It'd be really interesting to know.
Yeah.
Oh,
I'm
sweet.
sure they can do
Yeah,
tests.
that'd be really
You
interesting.
could probably just like Google it right now.
Yeah. How
Yeah.
fast does a surfer go at pipeline?
Or how many seconds between waves and stuff.
Yeah.
But now they've gotten so with all the buoys and all this technology they have, they know when it's going to.
Almost too easy now.
Yeah. That's so fun. Before we just woke up, dealt with what we had.
Yeah.
You know.
But that's what I was watching some of, what's his name?
Sometimes
forgot.
we'd stay up all night because it was really good the night before, and we'd think it'd be really good in the morning. And then the sun would come up and it'd be 20 feet just blown out. And we'd be expecting 6 foot perfect.
It's like, no.
Stay up all night getting excited. And then next morning, oh, God, go to bed.
Yeah, that's one of the main like things, how diverse it is every day.
Unbelievable. It'll change in a heartbeat. There's a weather pattern where when there's no wind, when the trade winds aren't blowing, the sun comes up, it heats up the land, and the hot air in the land rises.
That's right.
And it sucks in the onshore winds. But right around 5 o'clock, this is right when some of the older Hawaiian guys, when I was first starting, taught me about these weather patterns and how the trade winds at around 4 or 5 o'clock in the afternoon, the winds would go completely 180 degrees, and starting from Belsey Land and Sunset, it would be offshore
And just
moving down to Pipeline. And 1 second you could look at Pipeline and it'd be Victory at sea, ugly, bumpy, onshore, 10 feet closing out. And a half an hour later, it's absolutely perfect.
just glass.
And another time, we were sitting on the beach. I was sitting on the beach with a lifeguard. We were just sitting there smoking on the beach, watching we were just swimming. It was like 1 foot. We were right in front of the pipe. 1 foot, laughing and smoking, and 2 feet said, and then laughing and smoking. 3 feet said, and this is in a matter of like 45 minutes. And in an hour, it was 6 to 8 feet and utterly perfect. And there was nobody there. And that's what it's really neat is when it changes and it becomes perfect real quick and nobody knows about it.
Or when we used to have on our beach break, the switch in the tides was always the perfect point for us to.
You know what? That's one thing Hawaii doesn't affect us that much. Our tide change is only like 2 feet at the most.
All right.
Whereas California and other places are like 5 feet. In fact, when I started surfing other places, I went, what happened, man? There used to be water here.
It's all gone now.
It's all gone, but then you got those beautiful little waves that come through, and it's
So
just awesome.
You know, and then after I realized I experienced the tides at different places, then I noticed that there is a big difference with the tide in Hawaii. You know, it's very subtle, but it's very important, you know, like low and high tide.
Yeah, especially the transition.
The high tide of pipe, it's real bumpy and lumpy and stuff, and so it needs like a medium to low tide to smooth things out. But
That's the thing with surfers, you don't like. We know about geology, about meteorology, about all this like crazy science, and everyone's looking all the time at the buoys and what the wind's going to be doing. Like you could take a surfer and put him in a weather station, and I think he would be sorting everything out.
It probably would be more interesting to watch as well. Like everyone's just waiting for the Weather Channel. Like, okay, come on, weather man.
We had a guy. He was a shaper in South Africa called Baron Stander. I don't know if you ever met him. He was like a really famous OG at Durban, and he had a surf report on East Coast Radio at 6:30 in the morning.
That's the worst job ever.
Oh man,
because you don't know if you're allowed to give it away.
Oh yeah, he was very generic.
If your friends are going to be pissed off at you.
He was always very generic. He was always going like, "Yeah, North Coast is going to be good. South Coast is going to be pretty good." And
no
this coastline is like 300 kilometers long. So
yeah,
just
take your pick. Take your pick.
Figure it out, and it'll be great.
Yeah, I did a surf report one time for about a week.
Yeah,
and then they go, "What are you doing?
Giving away our spots
really?
You're blowing it out."
Wicked. So you're also the face of Lightning Bolt.
Yeah, a long time.
Absolutely, and it's amazing.
It's like I said, the reason I came to Hawaii was because of the Lightning Bolt. You know, and it's ironic that I ended up riding like surfboards with lightning bolts on them.
Yeah, here at the exhibition, we got a couple of his boards up. They're just beautiful objects to see.
Yeah.
It's like we grew up with seeing those images, and now to see them in real life and to meet you, it's a real.
Well, it's a pleasure to be here with you guys, man.
It's awesome. But you had,
especially with an Afrikaner,
more or less.
More or less.
We're kind of like transplanted Afrikaners,
expatriates.
Yeah, we're sort of because our folks are Italian, so we grew up there and then moved back. So we're just popping up and down between the
best
two
of both worlds.
Absolutely, we're lucky that way.
We're like we don't have a real home. We don't feel at home in South Africa. At least I didn't.
Yeah,
and then innately we feel like we're Italian, but we're not really Italian, So it's always like that kind of.
Well, I feel like a fish out of water, not being in Hawaii. It's starting to affect me pretty much because I was just talking to this kid that was there last month, and he was telling me how perfect it was in my backyard. I just wanted to beat my head against the wall.
When do you get back?
Whenever my mom, it's hard to say. But I just want to keep her going. She does. She's in. She told me the other day. She goes, I love you like a mother. Like mothers always love their mother. But I really like you. I just went. That is cool, man.
That's amazing. Yeah,
I made the whole thing.
Absolutely.
And she did so much for me when I was growing up surfing because she lived right on the beach. Mm-hmm. I mean, we lived next door to Jock Silla, and we lived next door to Mr. Pipeline. So how could I not? I was a product of my environment. I just kind of stumbled into it. But the worst thing I ever did was let my mother know what good waves look like.
Really?
Because she'd wake up in the morning before she didn't know. She'd just go to school and let me go to school with my friends. But as soon as she saw what good waves looked like, she said, "You're going to school with me." And I'd get to school, wait till she turned the corner, and then run out in the street and start hitchhiking home.
Was anybody in school with good waves in Hawaii?
Not really. Not really.
Everyone's sick today. I wonder what happened.
In fact, there were very few surfers my age on the North Shore. In fact, there was like a handful of us, at the most. In fact, there were just 3 of us that were hardcore. Bill Lacey, his dad owned a steel company. He went to school in a helicopter, and his dad would drop him off on the beach in front of my house, and we'd go surfing. And so then we got our driver's license, and he had the dad's cars. So we had it wired. We had school so we could just smile at the teacher and then disappear. Come back right as they're had done serving lunch.
Oh, perfect.
And then the people serving lunch would be so thrilled because we were so hungry. They'd give us doubles. We'd have sand in our water coming out of our nose, sand in our hair. Yeah, my mom did a lot. I didn't realize it until later,
Yeah, that's how it goes.
That's one of those things.
Beautiful.
Well, gentlemen, I've got to run.
Cool. Excellent.
And I will be back and we'll chat some more.
It's brilliant.
Yeah, why not?
Thanks a lot. Thank you for popping in.
We had a fun
It's a real
time.
pleasure. Thanks a lot.
All right, you guys.
Cheers, man.